workshop trading, which has been institutionalized into DUT that helps young people, students who graduate, to pursue entrepreneurial initiatives. And some of the students who are currently still studying are apparently, as I was briefed, already pursuing some of their businesses. So we're going to hear more from both Masiza and Candice on what they're doing. And then Pal Pillay from Youth Lab. They've been doing quite a lot in in advocacy, in policy development issues, but also in practical work. Quite critical of some of government's programs, but also quite excited with some of the things that have been done in government. So she's going to be talking to us about, their perspective in terms of unemployed youth graduates and what needs to be done. And then finally, we have Miss Rahab Matabani, who's from Mapiti Holdings. What's the private sector's perspective? She's an HR specialist, and she will also talk to us about some of the tips that are required in the world of work. As this program or space goes on, we'll also be bringing in some more people who should be talking to us about, workplace integrated learning, some of the internships programs in government that graduates can pursue, but it will also be allowing you to contribute. So just press request to speak, and then let's engage. And I'm going to start with Sibulelo Chabadi from the department, and I want you, Sibulelo, to talk to us about the interventions that the department has put in place around the whole issue of graduate development and support. Is Sibulelo on? Okay.
Thank you, Minister.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to all the young people who are in the forum. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you about this. Within the Department of Higher Education and Training, I think a lot of people tend to associate post-schooling with going to university, and seeing that as sort of the most ideal pathway. So I'm hoping that after today, you will also have at least some understanding of what are alternative options in addition to going to university. So within the higher education space, I think Minister has already touched on the fact that we've got our TVET colleges. And already by the time a student is in grade 9, it's possible to begin to choose whether one wants to go a more academic route, or whether one wants to go a more technical and skills-oriented type of route, a technical skills type of route. And that includes skills such as being a mechanic, or skills such as being a plumber, skills such as being a carpenter, but also skills such as being a professional hairdresser, skills that are sort of non-traditional in the sense that they're not what you would find being offered within our university. In addition to that, some of our young people may also find it more optimal in their lives to go through a shorter learning programs that last maybe between 3 and 6 months, that will assist them to get into specific occupations very, very quickly, that will enable them to possibly be available for employment a bit earlier than if one goes the route of a traditional qualification. And those are all programs that are offered through our colleges. They're also offered and supported through our sector education and training authorities. There are funding available for internships, funding available for bursaries to go and study, funding available even for the work placements that are required for completion of certain qualifications. So when one is thinking about what to do on completion of your studies, I think it's important to consider all the alternatives and to recognize that not everything needs to be done all at once. I think one of the messages that we want to encourage people to think about is that lifelong learning is quite a thing. Today, I was learning how to use Twitter. Florence has just spent the last 10 minutes teaching me just how to join this forum. So already today, I have learned something at the ripe old age of 50. I think one of the things that we have been doing in response to the pandemic, in addition, is that there are specific and special initiatives that are targeting youth. And in the coming months, you will be coming across adverts, for instance, for the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. There's going to be a drive for recruiting young people to enter into what is called global business services, which I think we traditionally understand them to be call centers. But there are jobs even within those types of environments that are not just sitting on the phone and taking phone calls. But in addition, there's going to be the people who set up the network to be able to support such an environment. There are the people who do the back office support services, they do the problem solving. There are all sorts of alternatives. So when the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative puts its call out in the coming months, it would be possible for all of you to then be able to see what are the opportunities and the types of jobs that are going to be available to participate in that program. In addition, I think, Flo, please stop me when I'm going too long because I've got quite a lot of information and I know this is going to be a long program.
Oh, please go on.
I'm not sure how much longer I can go.
Yeah, just go on. I'll let you know when you should no longer go on. Okay, I think your line is breaking a bit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay, we can hear you now.
Thank you, Minister. Okay. In addition, I think some of you are familiar with a program that is called the Youth Employment Scheme. And it's essentially an incentive scheme for employers to take in young people into the workplace. And the idea here is that
I think you might
employers
have to you might have to fix your
are the
line.
best
Will
place for learning
will
for young people to be able to get
Sibulelo?
the necessary work experience, know-how to
Sibulelo,
move
just
onto your next steps in career path.
yeah,
But
Sibulelo, I
we are all
suggest you
caught in
get
this
you get a
cycle
place
where
where
you can't get a
you
job
can
because you
get
don't have
better
work
network
experience, and you can't
coverage.
get work experience because you don't have a job. And therefore, what's important
Sibulelo?
then is for the employers to make space available within their companies without kicking out the older workers who are already in employment, to take them on. And the benefit that they get is that they get their BE points that assist them then to get other incentives within the economy. So those are opportunities that you can access. And what I will do is I will provide the link to access some of these services. There are important websites such as sayouth.mobi, which is a channel that provides lists of support services both for learning and for employment. That when you enter into that website, it gives you access to information that actually comes across quite a number of other services and networks. And
Yeah, I think Sibulelo, please get a place where you have better
so what I
coverage.
will do
We're
after
going
I
to
finish
we're
here
going to
is
mute you
put those links
because
in the Twitter
we're
chat
battling to
or
hear you. Um, yeah, we're battling to hear Sibulelo, so we're going to ask her to get a better network coverage. But as we do that, I'm going to to now invite Risuna, who's in the career development service. I think Risuna, just what are we doing as a department in terms of career development service in advising learners, particularly those who are in their grade 10, grade 9, grade 10, in terms of career choices that they need to be making in universities and also in TVET colleges.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister, and good afternoon to you and all the opportunity for allowing us to come to the Twitter space today. At Career Development Services, currently what we offer career information, career guidance, and career counseling. And what we've been doing for the grade 9 to 10 for learners to make career decisions is that we give them career guidance into doing that and ensuring that they make a well-informed career decision, thinking about the abilities that they have, the interests, the values, and also the personal attributes that they have in relation to the end goal, which is making to go to a TVET college or they go to a university. The most important thing is to make a well-informed career decision that will also enable them to think outside of the box, that one day when they become a graduate, how do they now navigate regarding their career choice that they've taken? How do they now get available opportunities regarding that? So with today's topic as well, the graduate support, we also do offer support in those terms. A person wanting to looking for employment as a graduate, we all know that it was quite an exercise for one to get to where they are today, and also preparing for the world of work is also an exercise on its own. So looking for employment, it could be quite daunting. Therefore, we also advise or encourage the graduates that when they're looking for relevant experience and they want to get independent, and at the end of the day, they would need to look at volunteering or looking for a job shadowing for available opportunities that they can get in order for them to get relevant experience at the end of the day to be employable or to employ someone at the end of the day. So, Deputy Minister, and together with the listeners, it's crucial that one thinks of the skills that they have. And sometimes as a graduate, one could be thinking, how do I gain the necessary skills for me to be within the world of work and be employable? So with those three things that I've mentioned, that looking for a volunteering opportunity or a job shadowing, sometimes if you do not know how to get such an opportunity, it's crucial that, for example, if one has done architect, they might not know the necessary skills or how to advertise themselves, and they're still looking for employment. Get someone around your area that would like to build a house or any other structure. Draw a house plan for them. Let them build that house. Take a picture and start advertising through that, which is one platform that one can use. So if a person is an engineer, they still not sure how can they get necessary skills. You get to places where they are currently building in relation to the same career path that one is in. Ask for an opportunity to volunteer there, so that one gets the necessary skills that are needed, so that one day you are able to even open up your own company as an engineer. So the most important thing is that when a person is studying for a particular career, think about, how do I get to have my own business opportunity out of this, and what is it that I would like to learn from it? Another example that I can give, a hairdresser. If one is already an artisan and they are a hairdresser, how do you now get those skills? How do you get clients? How do you wait alone? You can start at home by doing your neighbor's hair.
Resuna, we you're also breaking. Let me bring in Principal Basani Tlekani, our principal at Bembe TVET College.
They were
Principal,
still studying.
you
How
have
can they now
oh,
move up the ladder and
Risuna,
improve or empower themselves.
Risuna, you've been quiet for quite some time, so we decided to move on. But we'll bring you in just now because I think you've got very exciting ideas on what as graduates can do to start up their own businesses or to get experience and all of that. So I'll bring you in, again just before. Uh, but I want to bring in our principal, Basani Shekani, so that you tell us what are some of the things that Bembe TVET College is doing to prepare students for the world of work and or entrepreneurship.
Okay, good afternoon, Deputy Minister, and also the other speakers and to the listeners. Thank you very much for the opportunity. As I listened to other speakers just now, it needs one to prepare an exit strategy. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
I
can
think
hear
there's a
you.
better.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I was muted. We prepare students for we call it an exit strategy. So you need to prepare that as you exit the college, you are in a final year, or even though you are in the middle, you need to be looking at what is it that you are doing. So one of the parts that we actually look at, despite them looking for a job or going to higher institutions of learning, we prepare them for entrepreneurship. So in our college, we have initiatives that we have done. The first one, we've got a center for entrepreneurship. In that center for entrepreneurship, we assist communities and our students to open their own business. We help them to register businesses and we teach them compliances towards the business that they want to venture on. We also assist them when they've got new ideas. We link with CSIR. We assist them with research, whether the idea has been there before or not. We assist them in applying for funding. We assist them with, getting registration where there are regulations where they need to be accredited and all those things. We actually also venture them into the market. We actually market their product. We assist them in setting up. In some instances, you find that they are likely to can be able to get funding. We do mentoring and coaching how to run their business, how to do business plan. I can also talk about success stories that currently our students that are doing clothing, our students that are in engineering, we've got a technical center where the student you can come and run your business within the college. So we assist you with equipment. Like for example, if you open a business which requires you to tender to do proposals, you get access to the college to access internet and have a free computer. You can print your documentation. You also get time to be mentored in how to do the thinking of a vision of your, if you want to expand your business or your business is not moving well, we assist you with all those. We also check on you whether you are making profit or not. So all those things you can access. I think now it's different colleges that are actually doing that. So when you are within the college, even though you have graduated, you are not to the community. So we've got a lot of students, deputy minister and the listeners now who have opened their own business. We've got farmers that we offer also practicals. In the closing,
Okay.
I'm there now to learn how to do real garments that you can show off for. I think you've seen that during the Mapungu heritage launch that a lot of our students told you.
Yeah.
Deputy Minister?
Yes, Principal. So when I was there in early last year, just at the break of COVID-19 pandemic, one of the things that impressed me was that you moved your machinery and students and everybody else to start producing masks and a whole range of other things.
Yes. Yes, your protective clothing.
Yes.
In that plant, what is happening? It means you have completed your theory in a classroom.
Yeah.
So now we shifted few machines, but now it's fully fledged plant. So when you are there, you stay there for close to 18 months. You're no longer going to look for industry. So the industry now is within the college itself because there we made sure that the plant is complying. We are working now on accreditation with SABS. So when we are in that plant, you are already in industry because you are producing real garments that are actually ready for out to the market. Even though we are not taking them out to the market, we utilize them for the purpose of TVET colleges because protective clothing is something that is being utilized by the mines and the ESCOM and others. So you come out of there ready for the market. Most of those students that you have seen last year, they are no longer there because we give you a period to run on that. Now they come back to the college because they are running their own businesses. They've even employed some of our students. So when you study at a Tibet college, in most cases now recently, we have escalated that now to engineering. Our plumbers, now with the Center of Entrepreneurship, they were demonstrating that they are coming to the college to produce real products that are ready for the market.
Yeah.
So we have already moved on from that element of them studying. They are running their own business. They are coming back to assist our own students with the practicals in their industry because we've got limited space.
Yeah.
So within that Center for Entrepreneurship, we assist you with those. We apply for you for funding. We get you out with a business already registered. If one student plan the exit strategy to say, I want to run a business. So when you exit, already your business is registered, you're ready to go. Those that are lucky, we will go out already having the machines for the startup of your business. We also had the municipality donating some plumbing equipment now to one student who has already had a business that is registered. And continuously we do after sales service to check how are you doing. Is your business making profit? If it's making profit, we check. Are you able to make so much a month? Are you able to make so much within a year? Now we also have people that are all, able to make $1 million. I think because that's when we keep a benchmark for ourselves to say we want to see that with what we are doing, is there someone who can be able to make $1 million a year? Last I was informed, I didn't verify that. I was informed that there are those. There was one that was also able to make 15 million a year. So people prepare their exit strategy in terms of what are they going to do, and they do it within the TVET college.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I might have explained
I mean,
to your expectation.
Yeah. So basically, you taking students who from grade 10 or grade 12, some of them with no skill whatsoever, and give them the theoretical and practical training based on their career choices, but also give them extra support for them to start up their businesses or to expose them to what is referred to in the world of labor experience. This is essentially what I'm getting from you, and all of this is happening in a TVET college.
Yes, all of this is happening in a TVET college, Deputy Minister.
Yeah, let's hear what the universities are doing. Masiza, you guys there at DUT are doing quite a wonderful work in terms of basically introducing students to entrepreneurship and the realities of being or the life after graduation. Tell me more about that. Okay, we seem not to be Masiza. Okay, but is Candice Leith? Are you here? All right, we'll get back to our DUT fellows. Let's talk to Pearl from Youth Lab. Pearl, are you here?
I am here.
Yeah.
I hope you can hear me. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, there's two Candices here. So we're both from DUT. We're the psychologists. Are we audible?
Oh, okay. Yes. Maybe let's so Candice Leith from the Career Service.
Sure. So my name's Candice Leith, and my colleague Candice McCain has also joined. And we are the psychologists from DUT Student Counselling, and we do have a career resource centre. I'm also going to let my colleague Candice step in when she has maybe a valid comment to make.
Yes.
But a lot of what you have mentioned, we were going to talk about. So we do have the work prep workshops, etc. We do also have our in-service training for our DET students. But our main aim is to make the students adaptive graduates. So one point that wasn't mentioned, I'm going to ask my colleague Candace to briefly talk a little bit about the assessments, especially around for the high school students. Candace, if you could just mention what your thoughts around that. Candace, are you there?
Okay, no, continue speaking. She
Okay,
can
no
come in
problem.
later.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to know that the kind of your career process is kind of like a lifelong learning process. And what we have found at DET, and a lot of students come in and they choose a career based on their contextual factors. For example, perhaps they're the first in their family to study, etc. So often we often have to provide career counseling to the student to check that that they're studying the correct career, that they're suited to the correct career. A lot of our work is around kind of psych education around the career and how to make a career in terms of decision making. So I think that's really important to take note of, and that's often done. We do a World of Work career fair, and that's also done at. We do workshops for schools for grade, so for matrics, and also grade 10s for subject choice. And as I said, also our career assessments we do for prospective students as well. And then also I made a note that, as I said, we're aiming to make our students adaptive graduates for the world of work. So we also need to bear in mind the change in context. So if we think about the COVID pandemic and the fourth industrial revolution, and now a lot of work has become digital. So here we all are sitting on a digital meeting that we all never thought that we would be doing, 2 years ago. So we also explore that with our students and help them become critical thinkers and kind of taking responsibility and learning as much as they can.
Okay. So I mean, you may probably be interested in knowing how many of your graduates ultimately get employment or do startup businesses and all of that. Candice?
I think in general, it's important to make the students aware that, finding a job is not an easy process. And I think a lot of students, when they leave school, there's a sense of naivety that, you're going to study, you're going to get a job, you're going to buy a house. And, it's not a easier linear process. And I think just in general, jobs are really hard to find. But what we do at DET is, we through our workshops, we encourage them to think critically, to get their CVs out there, to develop networks. I think that's also really important through platforms like LinkedIn. So we go through all of that with them and to facilitate that job searching process and to also normalize that it isn't easy, but eventually you will find a job, and you might not find a job that you're looking for. You might need to work your way up. And I think it's around psychoeducation and letting students know the process. It's not a linear process.
Yeah. But we've had some successes that we can talk
Yes,
about. Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, yes.
All right. Okay. Pearl, Youth Lab works with young people. I see. I was trying to look for you on this panel here, and I see you have named yourself Titi Mboweni.
Deputy Minister, these are very different conversations. I just like people confusing me with the Minister Mboweni. It's very funny. I get to hear all people's complaints about the state of the economy, and then I get to ask them if they're sure they're talking to the right person.
Okay, all right. Okay,
um,
yeah, but yeah, yes. Back to business.
So I think in the kind of yes, in the kind of work that we've been doing. So we don't work directly with graduates in the way I think other speakers have. A lot of the work that we do at Youth Lab, for those that don't know, is we do work around research, dialogue, and capacity building, and that exists wherever young people are, right? And so we do work around supporting young entrepreneurs, young people who are interested in community development, in policy making, and ours is to find out what kind of support young people need so that the work that they're doing is actually impactful and sustainable. And so I think in talking about conversations around graduate support, I think a lot of the conversation is how we prep young graduates. For entering the job market. But I don't think we're talking about how to prep employers for absorbing young people and actually working with young people.
Mm,
And I think often that's the problem that we run into, right? Is that you have graduates that do all of these recruitment programs and work readiness programs. I mean, there's so many out there already for young people. If you think about like the APSA Work Readiness Program, you've got the Chrysalis Academy, you've got Harambe that's doing cool stuff with graduates. We don't talk about what then happens when a young person has gone through all of these programs and then enters a job space that has not been ready to receive them. And so I think maybe just to talk about three quick things, because I don't know how much time I have. I think one of the first things, and I'm really glad that Candace spoke before me, to think about things like psychosocial support, right? What kind of environments are young graduates expected to work in? I think if we just think about the private sector in corporate South Africa, we can talk a lot about things like racism, classism, and the ways in which young Black graduates, especially, are treated when they enter the workplace, almost as if having a job is a favor that someone is doing for you. And so, what kind of psychosocial support are young people receiving? If we think about specifically now during COVID, um, Youth Lab created a project called Psychological First Aid. And what that project is doing is it provides free therapy for young people during this pandemic. And one of the groups of young people we work with are young professionals who have just entered the job market. And there's so many layers of issues that come up because number one, you're not used to having to enter the world of work, right? We don't have active work experience programs before you get your first job. And so you come into a workplace and you don't actually know what you're doing there, right? And there isn't enough support to help young people move through entering the world of work and how to work. Because I think, universities and TVETs provide us with all of our academic knowledge, but they don't teach you how to actually just navigate a workplace. And so often young people find themselves drowning in having to make so many different adjustments with no one kind of there to say, actually, you're on the right track, or this is the kind of support you may need. And then, especially if you add in COVID-19 and the ways in which having to live and work through a pandemic has affected our ability to work, there isn't enough support to say, this is what adjusting to this new normal looks like, right? And how do we see young people specifically as part and parcel of the makeup of the companies that they work in and not just disposable workers? So that's the first thing. The second thing is to think about what work actually means. And so I think in this conversation, we've been talking a lot about how, young people must respond to what the market is demanding. And I think we take a slightly different approach to that because our thinking is around how do we as employers, how do we as people who run businesses adapt what we're doing so that we include the people on our team? And I think, especially for young people who are very dynamic and innovative and are constantly trying to rethink of new and interesting ways to do things, I don't think that the workplace is as responsive to that. And that's where a lot of conflict comes in, I think, between young graduates is that you enter into a workspace and you're, kind of full of life and you want to do your work to the best of your ability, but you come into company cultures that don't allow for that. And so the second thing is about how do employees think about what it means to have young people in your company, right? And are you creating the kind of environments for young people to thrive, but also for them to grow? And that moves me to my last point, which is around the actual kinds of tangible resource support that young people need. So beyond the psychosocial stuff, one of the biggest challenges we have is actually just money. So you start a new job and you have to wait until the end of that month for you to earn your salary. In the meantime, nobody's thinking about what money you're using to get to work, the kind of, with working from home, your data requirements that you have, a simple thing like needing a laptop, because not all jobs will provide that for people. And so we're asking young people to already begin their work journey having to think through so many different struggles because a simple thing like taxi fare or data is not being provided. And so I think that there is a big conversation for us to have about the ways in which employers themselves are not well prepared to absorb graduates into their companies. And I think, we have a lot of work around graduate readiness, like work readiness programs for graduates, but maybe we need to start thinking about work readiness programs for employees as well. Because I think you can prep young people all you want, but if they're coming into companies that just don't know how to work with young people, we're going to constantly find ourselves in conflict.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Pell seemed to be raising a point that the private sector is not ready to open the world for young people. In that we also need to get you ready, or that you need to yourself to be ready to be able to accept the way in which young people think, how they view things, their way of innovation, and all of that. Okay, I'm told we've lost Rahab, but I want to bring in a, one of the graduates from one of our TVET colleges, Ayanda. And I mean, she is probably one of the many graduates from TVET colleges that Miss Hlekani, our principal, was talking about, who seems to have figured this whole thing out. Ayanda, how did you get it right? Ayanda? Okay, I can't see or hear from Ayanda. Now we've got a couple of people who've requested to speak, but I want to wrap up with Risuna about the some of the key points and examples that you were making in terms of exposure and all of that. Some of the practical work that young people can be engaged into, and then I'll talk to.
Hello, Deputy Minister.
Oh, Ayanda is here. You were
Yes,
using
I've
what
been
name were you
here.
using? I was trying to check.
I'm
Oh,
using
Mansofat. Yeah, talk
Mansofat.
to
Yes,
us.
that's
You
correct.
should unmute. The
I'm
popular
so
word these
sorry.
days is unmute yourself.
Yes, I was just trying to make sure that I am audible and that everyone can hear me.
Okay, talk to us.
So my TVET college journey started in 2013. I attended Ekurhuleni East TVET College in Brakpan. I applied in July 2013, straight through to November of 2014. I did my N4 to N6 in record time. By God's grace, even a day before I even received my own results, I got a call from the Human Resources Department informing me that they're going to offer me a 3-month contract as a registration assistant. Fast forward tracking to the month of March of 2015, I got offered an 18-month work integrated program through General Engineering, which was a division of Marion Roberts. Unfortunately, as the previous speaker was speaking about psychosocial fundamentals like racism and stuff, that also actually played a huge role in me actually ending up being unemployed. So I literally became unemployed from July 2017 to July of 2018. Again, normally check up on students that actually have passed N6, that are on their way through getting their 18 month in order to obtain their national diploma. I got a call to actually check if I actually am working or unemployed. And then I told them that it's been a year since I've been unemployed. And I got offered a 6-month contract to become a registration assistant at Benoni campus, which was in July of 2018. The current post that I'm working at as a secretary campus manager of Dayton campus, the post was advertised, I think, around April of 2018. I applied. I had a bit of faith knowing that I'm actually a former student and I've got all the and I've acquired all the skills that I needed for that post. I applied. I got called around August to inform me that I've been invited for an interview. I went for the interview on the 9th of September, I think, of 2018, and I got offered the post in the 30th of October 2018. That is when I actually signed my contract, in which 2018 big year because that's when I actually graduated with my national diploma management assistance. And yes, the current psychological things that we currently go through, especially in the townships, we're often told that when you actually do attend a TVET college, you're going to get foreign life, because we were always told, even I was personally told, that my qualification will not be noticed, will not be recognized. But I stand as a different person. I stand as a testimony to that. TVET colleges actually are a great foundation for everyone. The current TVET college that I attended and is currently my workplace, there is an office called the placement office. That office deals with graduates and students that have completed their qualification. So if you have completed your NCV, NQF level 4, if you've finished your level 4, or if you finish your N6 rather, kindly go to the office, drop your CV, qualifications, and they actually do check placements for you. So they actually have a data do need certain interns, and with that, the Ekurhuleni East Civic College is a great foundation because it actually even assists even after graduation, just to check up on you if you actually did get employment or not. Thank you so much, Deputy Minister.
So what are you doing now?
Currently, Deputy Minister, I am the campus manager at Ekurhuleni East Civic College, Davidson campus, sir.
Yeah, good. Okay. Now, so one of the big questions that most parents, and I suppose many prospective students have, is the choice between universities and TVET colleges, and we have somewhat been made excited, and of course because we have some of the best universities in the world and in the continent. And therefore, we've somewhat been, made to believe that universities are the best thing to go to, and TVET colleges have somewhat become, the second choice for many of the students. Is this changing? Do you see more students choosing to come to TVET colleges now compared to, when you started at a TVET college?
Yes, Deputy Minister, that trend is actually changing rapidly with each year. When we were growing up, you would normally notice that university fees are quite steeper compared to your community colleges, as we are regarded as TVET colleges. But now the trend is actually changing, because more and more people are seeing upcoming graduates from TVET colleges like myself actually getting employed, whether it is in the public sector or in the government sector. The trend is changing completely, and it is actually commendable a lot, Deputy Minister.
Okay, that's good to hear that TVET colleges offer similar opportunities as would our universities. Now, I'm gonna ask Sebulelo, who's our director, PSET System Planning at the department, and Resuna, just a minute each to conclude, because they got cut by the network. And then I'm going to then allow all of you to speak. I'm aware you've asked to speak. You've sent in requests to speak, so we're going to start allowing all of those who've asked to speak, to speak. And then, as we also do so, we've managed to get Rahab back. I see you. You're back. So we'll invite you to also speak just now, Rahab. Sibulelo?
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
we can.
Great. I hope the network is better here. I've moved to a different
Yeah,
place.
just a minute to conclude whatever you're saying, and then
Okay. I'm just going to touch on a couple of things. Deputy Minister, I hope you have received the information. I have requested certain links to be provided so that everybody who is here will be able to see where to access the information that I covered in my earlier speech around the SA Youth Mobi, which is a data-free platform for accessing opportunities, both for employment and for learning. That's a key
SA
one.
Youth
The
Mobi.
other one, sayouth.mobi.
Yeah.
It is data free. It costs nothing to access the information.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. The second one is YES, yes, for you.
Can you mute Ayanda? Thank you.
Thank you. The second one, as Deputy Minister, is yesforyouth.co.za. That is the one to access the youth employment scheme. To register as a work seeker. You're not necessarily applying for a job, you're indicating that you are available for that scheme.
Okay.
Yes, for youth.co.za. And the third one is the Department of Employment and Labor database called ESSA, the Employment Services South Africa database. And it's essa.labor.gov.za. And that will take you to the homepage where it will also then give guidance on how to register. So any one of those can give you a port of entry to access information about what opportunities are available. I also just want to wrap up by touching on, one of the key questions that young people, always ask is, which field should I go into that is going to be the most rewarding, that is going to be the most promising in terms of being able to find work? And I am very happy to hear that most of the talk today is around TVET colleges. And as much as we also recognize the value that universities bring, I think the question that a young person needs to ask is, what do I enjoy doing, or what am I good at? That's got to be your starting point, because other things then become a lot easier to settle on. It's important to know, are you good at working with other people, or do you prefer to work alone? Are you good at working during the day, or do you prefer to work at night? Are you good at working with equipment, or do you prefer to work with computers, or do you prefer to work with your hands, or do you prefer to interact with people? And those are probably some of the key things that, the career guidance colleagues have already touched on, how one, some of the strategies one can employ. But even in employing those strategies, you also need to have a good understanding of yourself and your capabilities. Within the department, we do produce information that guides on which are the fields that are currently scarce in the labor market, where we don't have enough people. There's a lot of opportunities in the digital space, for instance, in ICT, around cybersecurity, around robotics, around artificial intelligence. Those are new and exciting areas. But there's also still a lot of work in traditional roles like carpentry that I spoke about earlier. But even in traditional roles at university level, such as engineering, your civil engineers are still needed, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. So the important thing, as I say, is to access those websites and see how they can guide you on what actually is happening in the labor market, what is happening where opportunities lie. But the first thing to do is to find out the resources that can help you to understand your own areas of interest and what you are good at.
Okay.
Thank you, Minister.
Prisuna, anything else from you?
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Just to wrap up, one of the key things that graduates can look at with regards to finding opportunities or to gain necessary skills is to opt for volunteering, or job shadowing, and they need to take responsibility for their own learning in approaching different companies or organizations that are offering the opportunities within their career field. And what we also do at Career Development Services is that on our social media platforms, we post the available opportunities from various organizations which are well researched, and we know that they are valid and reliable.
Yeah. Where do
Therefore,
you
when they
post
follow us
this?
on our we post it on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So on Facebook, they can go to career advice website, and also on our career website, which I will give out. So we post all the available opportunities there. Even from SA Youth opportunities, we also post them on our social media platforms. So it's also important to have a look at those and apply. And also with regards to the SA Youth, I'm glad that Sibulelo mentioned that they are also finding it difficult to get graduates from different provinces to fill up the opportunities. So I would really encourage all the graduates to have a look at this platform. It has got great opportunities for the youth for them to embark on and get the necessary skills and be employed. And one of the things that Sibulelo also was talking about, asking oneself, what is it that one is good at? So to assist the grade 9 into choosing subjects for grade 10 until grade 12, we have got what we call a self-help tool, which is on the National Career Advice Portal. This assists the learners to choose subjects in order to make a great, well-informed career decision at the end of the day. And if one is at a TVET college, they can also go through the TVET questionnaires, which are available, the interest questionnaires from all the TVET colleges. They are now have been rolled out and they are available. So they can contact us for further information on 086 086 999 0123, or send us one, please call me on 072 204 5056. So careerhelp.org.za is the website that they can get more opportunities on, and also on how to start a business and also embarking on other opportunities. Thank you.
You'll send me those and I'll also tweet that information, all of those links and the numbers. Rahab, we seem to be having consensus that the world of work is not ready for those who want to work it. So, yeah, what are your tips and suggestions for young people out there who are like, look, I've graduated, I've got this diploma or degree, some with PhD, some with multiple master's degrees, but they still can't find a job. Okay, Rahab. Okay, maybe let's allow the those of you who are part of this and who want to ask a question, make a contribution to the panelists. I want to start with Unati, Sishuba Unati. Are you still listening, and do you want to speak, Unati?
Yes, Deputy Minister. It's actually Masiza from DT. I couldn't get in with my phone.
It says Sishuba Unati. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Now there's also a face of a very beautiful lady on your profile, and so I'm expecting a voice of a lady.
I'm lucky to be her husband.
Yeah,
so.
my bad. I shouldn't do that. Yeah. Okay, but talk to us.
Thanks, Deputy Minister. I wanted to just add to my colleagues, Candice, to add to what they had said, that people just perhaps maybe the point that I would like to point out to the youth is that universities, technicons, TVET colleges, universities of technology, etc. One of the biggest problems they have is time. So there's a competition for the time of students. And one of the most important things is for the student themselves to avail. But this very important issue that we deal with is dealt with part-time on the basis of somebody volunteering their time to go and learn. There are all these opportunities. You go to any university or to any institution of higher learning, there will be different opportunities. At DUT, we have the wheel program that is running. In fact, currently we just work online.
What's the wheel program?
The university has a department that places students for their work integrated learning.
Okay.
And hopefully in those areas, in those companies that they get placed in, they usually develop some relationship that it becomes easier for them to get placed forever. And in the student services department, we have started a program that actually supplements other program, Vuna Leadership Academy. Vuna Leadership Academy, part of it is also doing sessions on work preparedness for students. And what we've found out is
what does this work preparedness comprise?
Well, we call people who are specialists in HR to come and talk to students about what the conduct you should have when you get to the workplace, the kind of things to how to start your career already thinking about building it, not only just thinking about being thankful to get a job, but also to be strategic about the choices you make, even whenever you get a job, how to make sure that you get mentored as you are entering so that you have an upward trajectory, the kind of things that you do not do in a workplace, etc. But also another element, and we work with established departments that are entrepreneurship desks within DUT. Those entrepreneurship desks, they help budding entrepreneurs within DUT to start selling those things. But once a year, and we started it this year, that we have a festival so that everybody knows about it. We're trying also to make sure that, for instance, today we were doing a function for the SRC, the outgoing SRC. And then part of when we bought their clothes, some of them didn't fit. Student who is doing, whom we realized is doing one of our graduates from fashion design to come and cut their thing, and so we pay that student. Because one of the key things for us we realize is it goes down to confidence. We need to be building the confidence of students, those who want to be entrepreneurs and those who want to find employment, that they are worth it. Because a lot of times it's well and good to tell people how to which careers to follow, but most of the time, they get to university and there are no spaces in the things that they want to do. And a lot of students think, you know what, rather than go home and sit and not do anything, I'd rather do this thing. And they don't have a passion for it. But if you look at the experience out there, a lot of people who are CEOs or who are doing all sorts of things, they have studied for something totally different. A person who studied for engineering will be running a finance institution. A person who studied to become a medical doctor would be a CEO of a media company. So really the key thing about university education is just teaching you to be a problem solver. So the generic skills of solving, you can still migrate the skills, whatever skills you've gotten through the university, to go towards your passion. So that is why we we open these opportunities of entrepreneurship so that even if you are doing HR and then your passion is in music, start the music, and then let's see that the skills that you are getting in that HR, you will still employ in that music career of yours that you are trying. Or you got you got educated in whatever career. So what we are trying to do is to make these things less formal, these outside the classroom things, so that students can go and can find them nice to do, but also very they must be enriching to them, and they must be they must also have returns for them. But I think the biggest thing that we can do as the practitioners in various guises is to make sure that a lot of times when students, they walk into our universities, into our TVETs, they're only grateful to be here. And they sometimes feel that they don't deserve to be there. We need to make sure that they understand that they deserve to be there and to build that confidence. Because if we can build that confidence in them, they already can do. A friend of mine put it differently in our business festival recently. He said, if you were to take a student, an 18-year-old who walks into, say, the Kaiser Chiefs cadets, that student, that 18-year-old doesn't go to Kaiser Chiefs and say, teach me how to play soccer. He says, I know how to play soccer, but teach me to be a world-class soccer player. Without skills. But let's create, let's push the confidence that they can do it. And once they get that confidence inside, it'll be possible for them. Because you can't, unfortunately, change the employers. You can only change them by showing them that they are losing out. You won't change them by telling employers to change their habits. You change the employers because they just follow the money. If they see that, well, if I don't adapt to this new economy, I'm losing out. And that is when our youth come in with confidence in whatever they do, and it starts paying off. People start noticing. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Maso, do you have a question, a comment?
Yeah, Ansavui, Deputy Minister, thank you for giving me the platform. I have 3 submissions. The last one...
Okay, make them brief, né? Because we want to get as many people as possible, yeah.
Yes, correct. The last one, please note, it will be asking for your review. The first one is around the TVET colleges graduates. I feel like our government is pushing hard, but however, the private sector is not assisting them. I've never been in one, but the private sector need to be brought into books or make them to commit and employ them, because they only give them like a few months employment, and after that they sit in the benches of unemployment. That's number one. Number two, I know the other speakers have covered this, but however, I think it is important to note that we need to check what South Africa wants. Now, South Africa is investing, or the world is going to a digital platforms. It's going to the digital sphere. So when you choose a career, I think it is fair for graduates, or those who are entering the higher learning, to check where the world is going with digital. And then the other aspect is that the world is now investing in alternative power or renewable energy. Why don't we study fields or courses that are related to that? The last aspect or submission that I want to bring and ask for your review. I heard Sibulelo and other colleagues, not comrades, saying that there is indeed a shortage in skills. I want to disagree with that. I will tell you why. I made this submission as well in the Youth Parliament and in some other platforms. We have what we call professional bodies or professional councils. I'm in the engineering sector, and I want to invite you, Minister, to have an indaba that will include University South Africa, higher learning, labor, public works, SACA. When last did we review the requirements by these professional bodies? As engineers, we have many professional bodies. You will hear from those guys who are accountant. They have been complaining about how SACA is excluding them. What the intervention from the government? Because we're saying here, South Africa doesn't have engineers. That's not true. I can tell you, every year, universities are producing engineers. There are many graduates that are sitting at home. They are excluded, and in fact, they are not counted. The reason why they are not counted is because they are not professionally certified. The reason why they are not professionally certified is because the requirements for these professional bodies are excluding our poor people, those who went to to a University of Technology. They don't even count those who went to TVET colleges. They also excluding them in terms of earning professional status. Then you come back with the statistics to say we don't have engineers. That's not true. We do have engineers, but they are not recognized by professional bodies in the democratic sphere or government. So I invite you, Minister, SACA, higher education, labor, universities to review the requirements by these professional bodies, be it engineering, be it built environment, be it accountant, be it law society. We need to review them because they are outdated and they are excluding our people. Our people are graduates.
I think that's a good. That's a good point. Subulelo, you don't think so?
I submitted this to Minister, your head, Minister Blade, as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's spoken about it for quite some time, and I think, I think it's something that we strongly need to be taking up. But we have Sibulelo here and Risuna. I just want to poke their brains on what they think about that, because I think that's an important issue that we should be taking up. The role and attitude of professional bodies in excluding young people who are graduates and therefore who cannot, get employment and all of that. Do you have a take on that, Sibulelo?
Deputy Minister, I think that's a very good point. It is something that we are finding in some of the occupations. What we also find is that some of the people who come out of our institutions have completed their theoretical learning, but were not able to access the workplaces to do their work experience component to complete their qualifications. And therefore, that's one of the areas in which we're working very hard to try and bridge that gap, because unless they are able to get those workplaces, they're unable to actually even, as you say, meet the requirements to be recognized as not only being recognized as engineers or whatever, but to even reach the stage of being able to be assessed.
Yeah. So and I think let's. But were you are you done, Maso?
Yes, I'm
Thank
almost
you.
covered, but no, sorry, Minister. The last one, we have democratic government that is asking, it's on the previous point anyway, that is asking, for instance, if there is a project for triple BEE, and then we have a requirement for professional registration. So now we have a minority that qualifies or that have the status of professional registration, but they are not triple BEE certified. Now the government, democratic government, in selecting or in awarding, they will award those who are professional registered and not those who comply or who meet the triple BEE levels that are required. So the democratic government must know that these professional bodies, all of them, they are excluding majority of South Africa. And I think
we'll look at that. Yeah, definitely.
The sectors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. My black, my white, my
hello,
colored.
Deputy Minister.
Hi, yes, we're hearing you. We can hear you, my black. Okay, I think you have some issues. I'm going to close down with Rahab, and I'm going to try her for the last time. I hope you're on now. Tips for graduates. And then I think if all my panelists could ready themselves also, I'm going to give you just some few seconds to close up, wrap up, and then we go home. But Rahab, yeah.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. I don't know what was happening. So I'm so shaken now with the last speaker because he touched on such critical points that we as an HR executive and people that look after transformation in our organization need to look at. It's quite an issue with the professional bodies. I mean, one of my points that I wanted to speak about is to get the graduates to be able to interact or be active in the industry bodies, which is professional bodies. Now, if we hear that those the professional bodies are excluding them, it's quite a problem. I am, for example, involved in a lot of work with EXA, but also as employers and also as HR executives, we've got to look at really innovative ways on how do we add value. EXA has written its own rules or professional bodies have written its own rules, but you've got to look at your own values and also have that social compassion to say what is happening in my community. Like I work a lot in the engineering space where we do take kids from, young people from TVET colleges and we progress them. Remember, we're talking about lifelong learning. Today, they might not be accepted in the EXA, but tomorrow, if they're working and they've got like 2 years, and in the company we give them bursaries and all those kind of things, ultimately it will get to EXA. I'm just using EXA as an example. In the HR space, for example, we've got a lot of HR bodies that we work with. Also, similarly, the burden is on us as professionals, seasoned professionals in the companies, to make conscious decisions, at boards to make conscious decisions, at companies, especially insofar as employment equity, insofar as Triple B is concerned, make innovative solutions that are ready and that are practicable to the people that we have around us. Those are, Minister, the only solutions that can work. Because graduates can be ready, but we cannot look at just normal graduates by the book. We need to have the compassion. We need to have the passion. We need to understand that it lies with us as private sector to go and make the difference in the communities that we work in. For graduates, when you get an opportunity to get into a graduate program, make sure that you understand what you need in terms of liking, in terms of your passion. I mean, a lot of speakers spoke about technical competencies. We as organization, and I'll speak broadly, Minister, in interest of time, in the graduate program, we look at things that would not ordinarily have been taught at school. We look at the psychosocial, we look at your emotional intelligence, we look at now the 7 quotients, we look at your spiritual quotient, we look at organizational culture to try and adapt that person into that culture. So there's quite a lot, and I'm sorry because of time, I'm not able to speak as much as I need to. But I mean, it's the AXA thing and the professional body registration, Minister. It's one area that we can make meaningful, contribution. There's a mislink and there's a disjoint from private sector. There's a disjoint from private sector and the government. Government makes policy, but as private sector, Minister, we've got to go and look at those policies and look at ways on how to make sure that we make meaningful differences in our community.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. Would have really liked to have you speak much longer. And unfortunately, you had experienced some, technical glitches. But, those who want to have some more on, from Rahab or from any of the panelists, you've got their handles. So you can handle each other there, their Twitter handles. But I'm going to take Nondu and then wrap up with the rest of the other panelists. Nondu?
Thank you so much, Deputy Minister.
Yes, Nondu Miso, yeah.
Thank you so much, Deputy Minister. My name is Nondumiso Mvubu. I'm a candidate master's degree student at the University of Johannesburg. The difficulties, Minister, with acquiring...
What are you studying at?
I'm studying at the University of Johannesburg.
Okay, what are you what's your master's on? What are you trying to master? Town planning.
Yes.
It's one of the scarce skills, by the way. Okay, go on. Yeah.
Okay. Deputy Minister, our major issue with higher education, basically is the lack of information, especially after someone attains a qualification, academic qualification, because for instance, professional body registration is something that we are not aware of up until a point whereby I've obtained now my national diploma trying to find a job, and I have no clue what this SAC plan is about, or if I have a clue now, I don't even know how to register within. And then there is a candidacy program, which by you need to pay a large sum of amount of money. Now you're thinking, I'm just a graduate, I'm trying to find work. Where do I get this amount of money now to register? What are the processes of registering? And now there is no alumni body that assists you throughout this program of assisting you to attain this professional registration. Moving forward, then afterwards, then listening to the other speakers speaking about colleges and how they work into entrepreneurship and give you spaces and facilities. In higher education, we do not have those facilities. So now if I want to venture into a town planning consultancy, I must figure out where to get a facility to run my business, which is very, very difficult as a young graduate coming out of an institution. And you then find someone wanting to then master or research within their field, not because they don't want to go into the workspace, but merely because it's the only safe place that we know, which is academia. So you continue within a higher education institution, even though you want to venture out. And yes, there are programs that assist us, internships and various programs such as the presidential youth stimulus program that I was once in the first phase of it. It is assisting, yes, but who are you training us for when we are in these programs and we are there for a good 6 months, or we're there for a year, 12 months? Generally, there's probably a lack of capacity in your field. So you get there and you start working. There is no mentorship, there's no training. You will start working and implementing. Fine, because of our academic experience, you get to know and understand the work much more faster. Now you get to a point whereby you are practicing professional work within an industry, but after 12 months, you've got nowhere to go. And how many 12 months do we then do afterwards? Because after this internship, you are told, because now you have a PASL number, you can't do another internship. And it's a whole different process and a whole broader spectrum that frustrates young graduates such as myself.
Okay. So it's the whole issue around, and I mean, I get your point, the role of universities in preparing you for the actual work so that when you get there, not everything becomes new, and information around, professional bodies, why are they important? And I think, that's probably one of the issues we may have to want to discuss and have some of the professional bodies coming here and we're engaging with them and giving us more information and getting all of you to to come in and ask them questions. But also that's one of the things that we will take up. Most of the universities and universities of technology are setting up incubation centers and innovation hubs, and whose role is to try and give support to students. And I think the Candice from DUT spoke quite at length as to what they do, and so did Vuna. And I think it's I mean, find out from the university what is it that's happening, what is it that they're doing in order to support you as a student. But I take some of the points that you've raised, Nondumiso, and we will definitely take them up. I'd like to give 30 seconds firstly, and 30 real timed seconds, firstly to Resuna, and then I'll take you as you are, your last words.
Okay, thank you, DM. I would like to encourage graduates to interact on our social media platforms and also encourage them to go after opportunities that will enable them to gain skills and that will be more transferable to the next available opportunity. And I'd just like to say that make the right choice and decide your future.
Sure. Sibulelo?
Thank you, Minister. I think the one thing I want to encourage our graduates is not to lose hope. I know that the task seems daunting, but don't lose hope and be open to opportunities, even if they don't come in the package that you were expecting. Work is now fragmented. You don't no longer do a 20-year career. Be open to the opportunities as they become available.
Sishuba Unati. Okay, we might not have him.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you. I
All right.
2 points. The 1 point.
30 seconds, yeah?
Yes, the 1 point I directed at you, that is a policy.
Yeah.
One thing that we just have to try as South Africa is to break the monopolies. Even bread is sold at a monopolistic rate or in a monopolistic way. So for the economy to be able to absorb other people, let's break the monopolies. But from the side of the students, the youth, I'd say just make your first move. Make your first move. It doesn't matter if you try whatever you try, just go out there and do. If you don't take that leap of faith.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Titi Mboweni, also known as Pelpile.
Can I be protected, actually? I don't have much to say. I think this has been a really productive conversation. We don't often hear about the kinds of initiatives that are happening and the things that are working. And so I think just from my side, maybe to just emphasize the importance of collaboration. I think, especially at Youth Lab, we're always looking for initiatives that we can help support and find ways to make people's work go further. And so I think I'm just really glad that we could have a space like this to talk about the kinds of initiatives that are happening, and hopefully we can find more ways to support each other.
Okay. All right. Superstar Rahab.
Thanks, Minister. So I'd like to encourage our youth, just go out there, find what you like, find something that you can do in the meantime. As HR people or people in businesses, let's be open. These are our own children. Okay. If you want South Africa to change, we need to change.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And then we're going to finish this off with our principal, Basani.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Minister. I think mine is to encourage our graduates, especially from universities, to say, I listened to the speaker where he was complaining about, when they exit, there are certain things that they do not know. Earlier on, I spoke about the exit strategy, and I think DM, you mentioned it very well, that universities are setting up hubs and incubations. I think that's where I'll say TVET colleges are doing it better, because when you leave TVET college as an engineer, you leave there as an artisan. You are already qualified, you are having the registration, and that's what I was alluding to earlier on, that we prepare you for exit. If you are going for the labor market, you are prepared. If you are going for a business, if you are being an artisan, we assist you on that, and that's where the sitters now are coming in, assisting us to prepare you for labor or for the market. So I want to encourage them that if we have trained, like for example, as an engineer in university, there's nothing wrong. We are not downgrading. Go and get other skills that you can acquire from TVET College, because the guy was very right. We don't have shortage of skills. It's the issue of people not qualifying in a particular manner. So the graduate has to analyze, what is it that I don't have that made them to choose the other candidate. Thank you, DM.
All right. Thank you very much, all of you who have tuned into my space. And I think the panelists and everybody else have said what needs to be said. I personally have taken into consideration some of the key policy proposals that are coming out of this space, and some of the concerns and some of the things that needs to be done in our universities. I almost forgot Candice. Are you still with us? Okay, if she's not, that's still fine. But thank you very much for being in this space. We're back again next week, Friday, at 3:00. And in the course of the week, we'll tell you what we're talking about next week. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, DM. Bye-bye. And thank you, everyone, for accepting our invitation. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.